So there will be, because Pakistan will be directly talking to the Taliban, which means that Pakistan for now will not go to the extreme of launching airstrikes inside the Afghan territory. So obviously Taliban will accommodate Pakistani demands to an extent. But as far as taking some kinetic action against TTP is concerned, that is not going to happen, because officially Taliban are in denial of TTP's presence in Afghanistan. So something that they do not acknowledge, they will never take action against them. In fact, when this question from media was posed to the Taliban spokesperson that Pakistan was talking to TTP in Kabul, so how is it that you are denying that their leaders are not present in Afghanistan? Their answer was that TTP leaders come from Pakistan for talks and then they go back. So I think kinetic action is unlikely. What Taliban have done since they have come to power, if you look at the pattern, every time there is pressure on Taliban from Pakistan to do something about TTP, we see that the ceasefire collapses. Twice it has happened. The Taliban brokered a ceasefire and everything in the violence increased, cross-border violence from TTP increased in Pakistan in response to the Pakistani demand. What happens is that they scrap the ceasefire. Before a Pakistani official reaches Kabul to demand action, they scrap the ceasefire and they change the goalpost. So when the pressure comes from Pakistan, they again offer you that we can broker a ceasefire or we can help TTP and Pakistan to talk and come to some kind of a truce. And this hasn't happened once, twice, but for the third time we have seen that one of their spokesperson from Qatar has given the same statement. So I think at maximum what Taliban will do is they will once again urge Pakistan and TTP to talk to each other. And we have, heard our Interior Minister Rana Sanaullah's statement yesterday that he said that with the help of Taliban, they were trying to bring TTP to the negotiating table. And the precondition from Pakistan is that they will have to surrender and they will have to reach to some settlement on Pakistani terms and under the Pakistani law. So once again, I think we are back to square one, and this is exactly what the Taliban will do. No kinetic action, change the goalpost, and then, try to broker another ceasefire. They will be under pressure, but they will not act against militants as a result of this pressure. If you look at the pattern of US-Pakistan ties vis-a-vis counter-terrorism in Afghanistan, since the killing of Al-Qaeda chief Ayman al-Zawahiri, who was killed in late July, you will see that first US assisted Pakistan in the overhaul of its F-16 jet fighters fleet, and they made them combat ready for counter-terrorism. After that, we have seen that one leader of TTP, Mufti Mazaim, who is their so-called defense minister and deputy Amir, he was put on terrorism watch list along with 3 AQIS Al-Qaeda in the Indian subcontinent, which means further signaling from the US that they are ready to help Pakistan vis-a-vis counter-terrorism in Afghanistan. Subsequently, we see CENTCOM chief Michael Kurela coming to GHQ. He went to Torkham border as well, and the discussion was on counter-terrorism and border security. When our foreign minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari was in DC, he said the US is ready to help Pakistan on border security. US Senate has passed this omnibus bill, which is a signal that if need be, some funds can be made available for counter-terrorism. And of course, we have heard Ned Price, the White House spokesperson, saying that they defend or understand Pakistan's right to defend itself vis-a-vis presence of TTP in Afghanistan. So, of course, these two countries are coming closer because the US, assessment of the Taliban regime has evolved in the last 6 months. Initially, the US wanted to directly engage the Taliban, but over the period of time since Zawahiri's killing, they believe that not only the Taliban's sincerity to go after Al-Qaeda and groups like TTP is questionable, but their capability of eliminating ISKP on Afghanistan is equally questionable. That is why they are neither ready to trust or the sincerity or nor the capability of the Taliban. That is why now they are getting closer to Pakistan to help Pakistan, and in return, gain some help from Pakistan vis-a-vis Al Qaeda and ISKP as well. Now, will this change the Taliban's strategic calculus? I think to the extent of ISKP, they will go after the group. But as far as Al Qaeda or TTP are concerned, I don't think so that Taliban will take any action against them. Again, at the cost of repeating myself, as I said, even when Zawahiri was killed, Taliban are in denial. They said Zawahiri was not there, officially speaking. And officially, they have not acknowledged the presence of TTP. So something that they do not acknowledge at the official level, they will never go after those groups on their soil. So TTP, since the Taliban took over, are replicating Taliban's model of insurgency. First, they announced restructuring, divided Pakistan into zones. And then we saw they launched earlier in early 2021, they launched a spring offensive, Al-Badr offensive. That time it was a signaling, but nobody took it seriously. More recently, they have, disclosed their elaborate structure of their organization in Pakistan, which is the replica of the Taliban's model of insurgency in Afghanistan. So using their bases in Quetta and their footholds in rural Afghanistan, Taliban were using these sanctuaries in Pakistan and foothold in Afghanistan as a force multiplier to launch an urban insurgency in Afghanistan, like Kabul, Helmand, Jalalabad, other urban areas. I think TTP is replicating the same model. So they have divided Pakistan into so-called provinces where they have appointed shadow governors. They have different commissions, including a military commission, and this is how they are now positioning themselves. So having sanctuaries in Afghanistan, footholds in the ex-FATA region and areas of KP, again, they will use that strength to expand the scope of their operations, at least in theory, to urban areas of Pakistan. I've seen them striking in Peshawar, we have seen them attacking in Quetta, we have seen them attacking in Islamabad, and there was this killing in Khanewal the other day as well. So it seems that at least for now, to at a limited level, their outreach to urban areas is gradually improving. So it's a model of urban insurgency using bases or sanctuaries and foothold in ex-FATA region in Afghanistan as a force multiplier. So they have restructured, and it means that they are in for a long haul, and they want to increase the violence to Pakistan's urban areas. So what we are seeing is replication of the Taliban model with a view of doing a long drawn urban guerrilla warfare. For simple reason, because they see them as an extension of themselves. They are, brothers in arms. They have fought and bled together on the battlefield. They have ideological, ethnic, political, geographical, historical linkages. TTP sheltered the Taliban after 9/11 when, as a result of the US-led war on terror, they were ousted and they took refuge in ex-FATA region and other parts. And TTP was hosting them. Now when TTP needs them, they are hosting TTP, and they will never disown them. They see them as an extension of themselves. Our former army chief or our military personnel, when they were giving this briefing, in-camera briefing to the parliament a couple of years ago, ahead of Taliban's takeover, they said that, TTP and Taliban are two sides of the same coin. And that is why they do not take any action against TTP, number one. Number two, they don't push TTP, because if they push TTP, they fear that TTP will join ISKP, which is Taliban's arch nemesis, and they have, challenged their ideological legitimacy on Taliban's turf. So TTP is equally careful. And number three, they don't go after them for ideological reasons, because within the jihadist fraternity, Taliban will be looked at as an opportunist group, which after getting power, disown their own ideological brethren who in the first place helped them come back to power. And they go after ISKP because it suits them. Number one, it bolsters their counter-terrorism credentials. So at least in lip service, they can tell the international community and Pakistan that, look, we went after ISKP, right? Number two, they do it because it suits them, because ISKP is killing primarily Taliban militants and commanders, and they are undermining Taliban's claim of restoring peace in Afghanistan. And it looks bad on the Taliban pad if different embassies in Kabul are attacked. International community's confidence in Taliban will be shaken. It has already been shaken, but it will be shaken further. So that is why they go after ISKP, but not after TTP.